So, lads, the 2020 NBA draft is coming up quite soon, to be honest. I get it, we have not even gone into the NBA finals, but you better believe as soon as the finals start, it'll be finals will be done, there'll be free agency, draft news, all of that will be happening very, very quickly. And today, there was kind of a big thing that came out in terms of draft news. And it's that the Minnesota Timberwolves, the team with the number one pick, are looking to trade down. Like, we already knew, like, it was already assumed that the Golden State Warriors would be looking to trade down in this draft. But it wasn't necessarily expected the Timberwolves would. But at the end of the day, you can kind of see why. They have D'Angelo Russell, they have Karl Anthony Towns. They're not going to take James Wiseman because he's a center. They're not going to take Anthony Edwards. The most likely players to fit into their system are those two guys on the furthest left, Obi Toppin and Dani Fda. But again, there is still kind of reasons why I wouldn't take those guys with a number one pick, so you can kind of see why they're looking to trade down. But one crazy thing is that it's now looking like LaMelo Ball could go number one in the NBA draft. All I'm going to say is fair play. Fair play. If you guys have watched this channel, fair play. LaMelo Ball has proved myself and the doubters wrong. He's on his own way, and it really has been kind of a testament to past. Realistically, ever since he went to Spire, it has been a huge change in LaMelo Ball, just in terms of his attitude and everything. Because you haven't seen much of LaMelo Ball on social media. You haven't seen LeVar Ball speaking too much. Whereas he went from jacking up half-court shots in high school to dropping out of high school to going to Lithuania, where he struggled mightily and just shot and basically just excelled in exhibition games, and then played in what were essentially exhibition games in the JBA. So again, I had logic to think that he was never going to make it, but he is going to. Worst case scenario, he'll be a top 3 pick in this draft, and he will get a great look at being an NBA player. I still have definitely some questions about his game, but you know what? There's no question about it that he's better at the age he is now than a lot of people, including myself, expected him to be a couple of years ago when he was bouncing around from exhibition game to exhibition game. He looked just like a taller Julian Newman. And fair play. Going a different route, I didn't expect him to be anywhere near as good as he was in the NBL, but now it's looking like if the Timberwolves don't trade the pick, that LaMelo's going to go number one. I don't know. Maybe that's a smokescreen. Maybe that's because there's some team that really wants LaMelo Ball, the Knicks, and they would rather trade with them. They would rather make that trade because they know the Warriors are looking to trade down. If a team's looking to get LaMelo Ball, it's the most likely trade scenario. So maybe they're just trying to trade the number one pick because, again, for the same reason that there's a team out there that's infatuated with LaMelo Ball. But I just don't see where LaMelo Ball to the Timberwolves fits in. I don't see how he fits in with D'Angelo Russell, just like I didn't see how Lonzo Ball fit in with D'Angelo Russell. Unless they do exactly what the Lakers did and trade D'Angelo Russell for one of the Ball brothers, I just don't see that actually happening. But Anthony Edwards had been the consensus number one overall pick for most of the year. And the reports coming out about Anthony Edwards, the reason why he's kind of dropping is the typical scouts overthinking things. Do I think Anthony Edwards is a worthy number one overall pick in any NBA draft? No, I'm not that high on him. But it's not that I'm not high on him. The reasons they're giving are ridiculous. These aren't the reasons why you shouldn't be high on him. The reason scouts are giving that Anthony Edwards should not be a top pick is that he has not won anywhere in his life. That is not his problem. Like, it is not his problem that he has not been on winning teams growing up in life. Heck, you're going to be a losing team. Unless you are the Golden State Warriors, who looked into the number 2 pick, and Golden State are not going to take him. Unless you're Golden State, why would that matter? You're going to be a losing team. Even if he's used to winning and suddenly he goes into a losing team, you don't know how his mentality is going to be. Like, if someone's won their entire life and then all of a sudden they go into a losing atmosphere, you don't know how that's going to affect them. Just like you don't know how it's going to affect someone who hasn't been on a good team going into winning atmosphere. They might thrive. Like, I don't understand what that logic is. That is just scouts overthinking things and saying things trying to sound smart. They're trying to make, I don't know, maybe they're trying to make excuses for if they don't pick him and he happens to be good, oh, he wasn't a winner at the time. Or they're making excuses already, trying to save their ass if they do draft him, saying, oh, he actually wasn't a winner, we said that the whole time. Because, yeah, there are definite flaws to his game. And actually, to be fair, I think the biggest flaw is that he's just not worthy of a top 5 pick. This is 2013 all over again, where you're looking at the top picks, and the Cleveland Cavaliers took Anthony Bennett number 1 because they were overthinking. And that's a big problem with this, what's going to happen with this draft. The Cleveland Cavaliers want to get rid of that first pick. Teams will overthink this draft because there's no like consensus. Well, there is a consensus number 1 overall pick. There's no player you can look at in this draft and think he's going to be a guaranteed all-star. So you can kind of see why teams might be considering passing on certain players, trying to trade down. I understand why they're all trying to trade down. But like, again, saying he has not been in a winning atmosphere in his career, again, that is just typical scouts overthinking things. Same thing happens when any player comes from Europe and they excel in Europe. Fair enough, like Dragan Bender barely played in Europe. He was a prospect. But guys that have been super successful in Europe, they will overthink that as well. And it's just another example of NBA scouts overthinking things. Then we have got James Wiseman. How has his stock fallen in the last month? The dude has not played. He was ineligible to play in college. James Wiseman was going to be the number 1 overall pick. Again, do I think he's anything absolutely spectacular? I don't think he'll come into the league as spectacular. But man, I watched this guy play in high school. He's good. He's really, really good. Just because everyone has recency bias and doesn't really remember that he was the best player in this class. And it's not like it was any major injury problem. He's still 7'1", 7'6" wingspan. He still has the potential to be a shooter. He's still a really good athlete. He's still going to be a good defender. Oh, I just don't get it with Wiseman. I don't get how someone as good as him in a draft as bad as this can drop to 5 or low. Yeah, hindsight can be 20/20. Maybe he doesn't turn out to be great, but man, again, this is just another example of teams overthinking things. Yeah, you didn't get to see a lot of the guy in college, but when he did play in college, he was great. And this is just like every year with the NBA draft. They have their draft boards, and then they always put way too much emphasis on the NCAA tournament. Yeah, that getting Kemba drafted, it worked in Kemba's favor. Frank Kaminsky went top 10 because of an NCAA tournament. Sam Decker went 16. And like, you're seeing the opposite case here with James Wiseman. Those are the type of guys that people have seen them recently, so they're going to draft him higher. In Wiseman, people have just not seen him in a while, and now they're just making random excuses as to why they're not going to pick him. So again, this draft is just a case of GMs overthinking things. And if he drops below number 3 pick in this draft, you can't go wrong by taking him lower than number 3. You can't go wrong. Again, a Michael Porter Jr. overthinking situation again, 2018. This dude right here, I think, is a big reason why teams are looking to trade down. It's Dani Fda. So Dani Fda is projected to go, well, some people think he's going to go number 4 to Chicago. I predicted he was going to go 5 a year and a bit ago. But I first watched this guy play in the under-20s European Championship because I had a friend that was on the Spain team. And this dude was the best player against guys 3 years older than him. He can play. Man, he can defend. He's got a high IQ. But I think that whichever team drafts him, he's got to go into a good system, good atmosphere. Otherwise, he might struggle because he's not Luka. This is like every next Dirk situation. He can come into the NBA and be a above average defender, a high IQ player, and average 10 points a game as a rookie, which is pretty good. In this draft, there's not many players who can do that. And I'm talking about if he gets drafted to a good team. Heck, if I'm the Golden State Warriors and I'm keeping my pick, I'm taking him 10 days out of 10 to play with that team. I am taking this guy. If they're keeping that pick, I'm taking this guy. Does not matter, it's number 2, I'm taking him. But he's not Luka. And I'm very scared that a lot of people that are going to be looking at this guy, and maybe scouts again, just like there's so many people that were taken too high because of Dirk, how Dragan Bender, who was seen as better prospect than Porzingis in Europe, got taken even higher because how good Porzingis was. I have a weird feeling that, I don't know, people are going to be disappointed. Not that he's going to be bad, because I think he's a better chance of being a piece on a championship team than Anthony Edwards. I just think people kind of need to slow down on this guy being the next Luka. Top 5 pick in this draft, yes, in my opinion. Is he going to have the output of a top 5 pick in a stronger draft? Probably not. And then there's Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin was the best player in college basketball last year, and it's not even close. The guy is 1 week younger than Jason Tatum. Can we just put that into perspective? He is 1 week younger than Jason Tatum. The guy is a year younger than me. Like, he's not an ultra young prospect. He's going to be 23 during his rookie year. Like, he could be great. He honestly could be the most NBA ready player in this draft. And he's between him and Deni. But he's not young. He's not young whatsoever. And you're seeing it even in things like Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield after being 4 years in college. Buddy Hield is no longer that young player. He's done very well. He has done very well. But Obi Toppin should hit his peak in year 2 or 3. He's going to hit his physical peak by year 4 or 5. He's not going to be this guy unless that's going to progress too much. Yeah, I get it. Dame Lillard did. But I don't see him being Dame Lillard. He can play a bit of small ball 5, which is fine. But he can't really play make. He's a turnover machine. He shot 39% in college, which is really good. He shot 70% inside the three-point line. The interior scoring is not going to translate. He is a guy that, man, he's a risk. He's old. It's hard to think who he fits. Golden State, maybe. Golden State. My number 2 pick? I don't think so. But again, this could be another overthink situation. A team takes him like number 1 at this stage. Like, would he be the first 4-year player since Tim Duncan taking number 1? But yeah, that would just be kind of a crazy thing. So, coming into this draft, we knew about the big 3. Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, and LaMelo Ball. And funnily enough, James Wiseman is now out of that conversation, even though I think in terms of ceiling, as much as people like to say LaMelo Ball has the highest ceiling of any player in this draft, the guy shot 25% from 3 last year. I don't think he has as high a ceiling as James Wiseman, who could be I'm not going to say a Gobert type, because that involves a serious amount of IQ as well. He's going to be an elite rim protecting defender, as well as stretch the floor and run really well. Like, he can be a great modern NBA center. I don't see LaMelo Ball being much better than Lonzo. But now it's between these 2 guys right here for that number 1 overall pick. Likelihood is that it's going to be traded. And who is my prediction to go number 1 in this draft? I think I have no idea what the Timberwolves are going to do or who they're going to trade it to. But I don't think anyone is trading for the number 1 overall pick unless they're desperate to get this dude that I have my cursor on right here. LaMelo Ball. Unless a team is desperate to get LaMelo Ball, I do not think that the Timberwolves will end up trading that pick. I think LaMelo's going number 1, but it's not going to be Minnesota. If Minnesota don't trade the pick and they're keeping it, I think if you see Anthony Edwards, Minnesota are keeping the pick. If you see LaMelo Ball, Minnesota are trading the pick. So I think it is going to be LaMelo Ball, and I think that the team that are going to trade for LaMelo Ball will be the New York Knicks. They need some hype. And you know what? They can probably offer the same package to get the number 1 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick in this year's draft. But at the same time, it offers them hype. Can you imagine the amount of hype when they get LaMelo Ball? A player that at worst will be an exciting NBA player. Even if he's bad, he'll be exciting. So yeah, I genuinely think that, as crazy as it sounds, LeVar Ball will have spoken into existence. LeVar Ball will have spoken into existence, lads. He will have spoken in Lonzo to the Lakers, and he may have spoken in LaMelo Ball in the number 1 overall pick. And when this happens, the first thing I'm going to do is try to get LeVar Ball's phone number and try to find out what the lottery numbers are, because this dude might be a psychic. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. This is the NBA draft for 2020. Is it a good draft? Hell no, this is a bad draft. As much as I like Deni, as much as I really like Deni is not in the conversation for a top 5. Last year wasn't a good draft either, especially at the top last year. Last year had three guys that were very strong, and then it was kind of all up in the air after that. Obviously, Tyler Hero and stuff have come good. But I mean, if we're looking at 2018, none of these guys are in the conversation for a top 5 pick. If we're looking at 2017, I get it, Josh Jackson was a bust, but Alonzo wasn't great. I still don't think LaMelo's as good coming into the NBA as Lonzo was. So I just think this is a particularly weak draft. And I think of all these guys, you've got the potential in James Wiseman. You've got the excitement factor in LaMelo Ball. You've got we know what we're going to get in Obi Toppin, because again, I think he's quite close to a ceiling because he's quite old. You've also got the kind of mysterious player from Europe who people are calling the next Luka. I think it'll be great. Do not think the guy is going to be the next Luka. And then you've got Anthony Edwards, who was seen as the number 1 overall pick, but is not a winner. So, again, I don't see this as being a great draft, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.